What is the craziest, scariest thing you've ever experienced as an anthropologist? My name is Warren Clarke. It's actually my middle name starts with G. I'm not gonna give you that middle name. So Warren, people call me Warren G. You know what Warren G? Nate Dogg. Well, no, never mind. Anyways, my role in the department. I'm assistant professor in the anthropology department. Sociocultural anthropology is what I focus on. I think the craziest thing I've ever experienced was I went to a conference and I presented my anthropological findings, my master's research, I remember. And I got into it was the first time it ever happened to me, so I think I handled it well, but I got into a argumentation with an audience member that accused me of being every anthropologist in the past who just many anthropologists, or the general feeling of what anthropologists do, which is, I'm not generalizing or saying that this is what we all do, but it has happened in the past in many instances where data has been extracted from community, and community has not benefited from any of the write-up or awards of the work. So it was very crazy in the sense that I was being held responsible for things that has been done in the past, and I think I was able to break bread with that person afterwards, and meaning that we weathered the storm, and I remember exchanging numbers with the person. What I had said to them, I'd been very clear that I'm actually from the same neighborhood that he was from, and when I said that, his shoulders dropped. So I think that was a starting place for us to create a moment of solidarity. All right, what research are you currently doing? I'm working on Black masculinities from a Canadian perspective. I focus on a project called the Barbershop Talk, Black Men and Misconceptions, that has now gone international. So I'm really humbled to work with people in the Caribbean, particularly Barbados, on this project. This project has been doing work in barbershops, focusing on how do we understand the relationship between barbers and young Black men who are marginalized, because there are differences and nuances between people, even though if they're of the same racial or ethnic backgrounds. Social class, age, gender, sexuality makes us all different. So this research is focusing on those differences. I focus on youth employment programs, and how they serve young marginalized ACB, Afro-Caribbean Black men as well. So I have a bunch of things that I'm working on that's fun, and I'm always behind a computer, so you can always reach out to me. How does your research impact people? This is a really good question, and I think the answer to this question is I use a public anthropology approach. I'm one that focuses on how do I work with the community, how do I create ideas and programming with community, but also focusing on how we can educate those who feel or have limited access to knowledge, particularly in a university, right? When we talk about young Black men specifically, from those who are marginalized, their understanding of going to university is not there's a little bit of understanding and encouragement that they receive. I remember when I was in junior high, I was told that I wouldn't be able to go to university from a teacher, and yet I'm sitting here as a doctor. Could you believe that? Go figure. But it's not only for young Black men. It's a lot of the things I work on as well is with young people, particularly those who are of the LGBTQ community, racialized with their own differences based on ethnicities, and we focus on how do we bring attention to social oppression. And the project I'm specifically speaking about is called Theater of the Oppressed, model that we use for a gender, sexuality, and race through the arts project or course that I'm actually starting next year. So look out for that course if you're interested in working with young people. But essentially, it's giving young people a voice, those who are experiencing social oppression. It's not when you get older you experience social oppression. you experience social oppression when you're young, when you're youth as well, when you're a young person as well. So I think it's the work that I do is very impactful because it's working with people. I've received so much gratitude, and I'm very humbled to receive that gratitude. And the work continues. So if you need more information, you know where to reach me. Which I didn't tell you where to reach me, but email me. How is anthropology important in our daily lives? Why should people care about anthropology? I think people don't know what anthropology is to care for it, right? So that's the problem, right? Like, I have my doctorate in sociology. So when I tell people I have a sociology background, people are like, oh, I know sociology. But when they hear that I'm a professor in anthropology, you're like, what's that, right? So I think the lack of, or the ignorance there, and ignorance is not a bad thing, folks. I think the ignorance there about anthropology creates this misunderstanding of care. You can't care for something if you don't know, right? So I think as anthropologists, and I appreciate Shanae, shout out to Shanae, they're doing these type of initiatives will help bolster and educate people's understanding of what anthropology is. And, you know, anthropology is a very unique discipline that focuses on, you know, four different fields, subfields, right? So you got, you know, medical anthropology, archaeology, linguistic anthropology, and then sociocultural anthropology. You know, these are things that, you know, a lot of people just don't know. But I also encourage, I'm getting close to the camera purposely, for all the anthropologists out there, connect with community. Robert Brofowski has mentioned this in Public Anthropology. It's important to connect our work with community, mobilize, work with community. That's the only way people are going to know who we are. Get out there, speak on platforms so people know what anthropology is. For those who want to be anthropologists but don't know you're an anthropologist, you are an anthropologist. You just don't know it yet. But, you know, the way we can mobilize anthropology to get people to care about it is to keep speaking about it. Not only publishing, but speaking with people, connecting with community, and encouraging conversation about anthropology. The way in which, you know, Franz Boas and Margaret Mead did. They did it with a cane. Well, Margaret Mead did. And the cape. It was awesome. Anywho. Cats or dogs? I'm going to say dogs. I'm allergic to cats. I want to own a dog. I had an opportunity and I backed out because my life is super busy. One minute I'm on a plane, next minute I'm on a train, next minute I'm in a car driving on a highway. So I have elected not to foster or purchase, I think purchase is an okay word to use here, a dog. Because I don't want to neglect the dog. Sometimes, if I'm not sure if you watch Logan or any of those movies where there's a dog beside this rugged man. So I feel like I can get there, but I think training is involved. So I don't have the time. So dogs. Okay. Why did I get into anthropology, or when did you learn about anthropology? I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to answer both questions. I learned about anthropology in 2009. My first year back in school, or first year in university, or back in formal learning. I took a break after high school, and then to work. And then when I went back to school in 2009, I remember I wanted to be a police officer, believe it or not, right? I think I have the look for it. These are great questions, by the way. This is like bringing back down memory lane. And then my first class, I remember it was, I went to York, and I picked criminology as my first choice, and then my second choice was African studies. I don't even know why I chose African studies, but I was like, okay, African studies. In the first day of school, I was told that the spaces for criminology at York were full, so I had to register it as a African studies major. So I was like, okay, but then they told me I can switch into criminology my third year. So my first class was anthropology. Never heard the word before, didn't know anything about this discipline. And the first class blew my mind. I was like, what is this? This is something I want to learn more about. So it was very inspirational. That's when I learned about it. And why I got into it was because of Professor Malcolm Blinko. My fourth year sociocultural anthropology course, who taught anthropology and theory at York University, really pushed me to think critically, engage, and analyze as an anthropologist. And I didn't know I had it in me, but he saw it and he teased it out, Warren. He teased it out. That's what he did every class, and pissed me off. And I wanted to slash his tires, and I didn't. I didn't slash his tires. I wanted to. I won't lie. I did, but I didn't. Right. So I love him. I love Professor Blinko, and I'm sure he loves me too because he found out I finished my doctorate. And now I'm a social culture anthropologist, so I think it's fair to say I did him proud. And I'm happy that he put in the work that he did with me, and I'm humbled. I would also like to mention that my mentor, who was not an anthropologist, but he is passed, his name was Jim Hayher Sr., but he would always ask the question why. And I think as anthropologists, we do that very well, is asking why and trying to find the answer based on the perspective of others and not leading with our unconscious bias to find answers. And that's what Jim Hayhurst did for me, and I continue to pay it forward with his work as an anthropologist. What is your favorite movie and why? I like action movies. My favorite movie all time, other than The Dark Knight, the second Christopher Nolan installment, that's actually probably my favorite movie. Actually, I was gonna say Heat, but I rewatched The Dark Knight recently, and I was like, this is an awesome movie. I've seen it maybe 100 times. I kid you not. I know lines like that. Right. So the why, because of the Joker. I think that the Joker is an anthropologist. I really do. Oh no! Oh, wait, hold on. He's not an anthropologist that kills. I think he's anthropologically inclined and thinking as an anthropologist. So he's very smart in the movie. Other than the recent versions of the Joker we've seen, is just a homicidal maniac. But this Joker, he asks critical questions, and I think again that lends itself to be something to be anthropological. Let me give you an example about the critical questions, shall I? Can I do that? I can do that. Yeah, why not? It's my time. Just joking. It's our time. One thing about the Joker, I'll say, I'm not sure. I'm not trying to do the movie here for folks, but there was a scene with Harvey Dent, with him and Harvey Dent in the hospital room, and he said, look what I've done with this some dynamite and barrels of gas, or whatever he said there, and he goes, if I kill one gangbanger, no one panics because it's all part of the plan. But if I go and kill one little old mayor, everybody loses their minds, right? So if you think about it critically, it's like, how and why do we move to certain things? Why is it important that we kill one human who's a gangbanger, but it's more important if a mayor dies or is murdered by a homicidal maniac, right? It just starts to critically engage thinking on who's important and who's not, and who deserves to live and who doesn't deserve to live. Regardless of their social status, there are reasons why people treat people a certain way. So those are questions that I'm interested in, particularly when it comes to marginalized young people. So there you go. What is your favorite class to teach? I'm enjoying, my relatedness in a globalizing world class. I use phenomenology as the theoretical framing in that course, and what phenomenology is understanding human experience in our social world and how we understand through from history, and intersubjective intentionality. Also, talking or thinking through a lot of Pierre Bourdieu's work on habitus and doxa, which also explains how we understand ourselves and how we behave and why we behave. But particularly with phenomenology, it focuses on how we understand the we and how do we create relationships based on our understanding. So that's been a very fun course for me to teach this semester. The course that I'm planning to teach is a course I created at Carleton University by the name of Race, Gender, and Sexuality Through the Arts, which is using Augusta Boel's work of Theater of the Oppressed. I really appreciate that course because it takes university students, third and fourth year university students, and works with high school students starting from grade 9 to 12. Yes, focusing on social oppression, concerns that plague young people, and using the theater to encourage the voices of young people to speak out against social oppression. So that's my two favorite courses, I will say. what is one thing that boggles your mind about humans that you would love to be explained? One thing that boggles my mind about humans in a Canadian context is how we understand our humanness. I think when you ask somebody to describe themselves or to make mention of who they are, the first thing people will say is, I'm I'm a lawyer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a student. I'm all these political assertions about who you that make up your social characteristics. But a lot of people don't think about I'm a human first. I'm a human being, and I have needs and wants that facilitate me to be human, right? I think, yes, working is important. Yes, the titles are important, but I think we're moving away from how do we define ourselves? And I think one way we do this in Canada, particularly, is based on race. We used acronyms such as BIPOC and POCs to then say, well, these people are those who are racialized, and the other people are white, right? And it creates that dichotomy of them versus us, I think, in many facets. And I think we have to be very mindful, and that really boggles my mind, because even though I talk about it and I write about it, and I say the dangers of using these acronyms as it homogenizes and it strips of the identity, people still use it. And I think I'm getting through to people. I think I am, but I'm only one person, right? And I need your help. I need folks' help to appreciate humanity. You're a human being first. You're not a BIPOC, or you're not a white person, right? You have individuality. You have your own story. What is it? And I think we need to be doing a better job, all of us. So that boggles my mind. Any final thoughts? I think I've talked a lot, but I think this is a great initiative. Like I said, Shanae, thank you very much for putting this together. We need to do more in our department like this because we have wonderful students. And I know you're in the department. I haven't met you yet because it's our first year back, and I'm still getting to know this department and this university because I've only been here for a year, but reach out to me, all right? Reach out to other professors in our department. They're awesome, all right? They're waiting for you. Literally, they're in their office right now waiting for you. If you just go knock their door, they'll be like, hey, I was waiting for you. Or send them an email, okay? So reach out. We need to really engage one another in this department. I think this is a great initiative and what's happening to do so. So that's my final thoughts. Thank you.